Hey guys, Adam Perry here with TrueDFS, and I am going to go over today's 11-game NHL DFS slate. We'll build lineups for DraftKings, we'll build for FanDuel. We also had some requests to look over old slates, so we'll take a look, see what we can learn by looking at some of the past contests, right? I mean, we should always be doing this, right? We spend so much time thinking about what we want to do on each slate or what our general strategy is and this and that. But we really need to be thinking, how did we do? What are the best stacks? What did other people do? And how will that affect things going forward, right? I mean, at the least, I want to look at what my Sklansky bucks were for each slate. In other words, how did I grade if the contest was played over and over again? So we're going to do that today. I think it's a pretty important thing. What's up, Eagles? And I don't have access, so I had to go to the library, unfortunately, and they block DraftKings and FanDuel, so I won't be able to do a hand build. I usually we have fun looking at projections, doing a hand build. If you look, I can't even access TrueDFS here. My connection is not private, blah, blah, blah. So it's blocking me. So luckily, I can still access SaberSim. I can't get Goldie's projections, but I can get the native SaberSim. So we'll just build. We were talking about the Minimax in Discord for a while. So I put a build with the Minimax in mind. I just threw a couple in so I could get the Sims going. And, we'll do that. We could take a look at news if we think we need to. The only thing I saw was Kopitar you're going to have to look at for this late night hammer because he's a game time decision. And Kopitar's a good player. So I imagine we'll get to some of them in 150. Vegas or Kings have pretty strong total against Pittsburgh. So we're going to have to watch out for that. So yeah, let's go ahead and build and get it going. Make two changes. And when you make the two changes that lets you build on SaberSim, it's not a huge deal if you change projections a little, or fantasy point projections, but I like to change ownership because ownership doesn't matter in how you build. So if you're a SaberSim user or you're thinking about getting access to these tools through TrueDFS, keep in mind that you might as well change ownership because even though you're making the tiniest change anyway, and it's not a huge deal, you're not going to affect your build by changing ownership. So I always make changes there. The other thing I do is these stacks, I'm not going to play them. We talk about this a lot with baseball. Why build lineups that you're not going to play? Why grade them? And you can say, well, because some of the 3-3-2s and the 2-2-2s actually grade well, and that's true, but so many don't. So I'm going to flood if I let them all in, I'm going to flood my 5,000 lineups with a fair amount of garbage. And I only get 5,000, right? It's an 11-game slate. There's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of valuable lineups. And I only get to build 5,000. So I want to make it count. So I just want more of those to be gradable lineups. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the onslaughts and the 4-3s and demand correlation from the jump. Well, let's see who we get to. Let's see what our portfolio looks like. We'll look at the top ROI lineups, and then we'll look at a portfolio of lineups and see how the diversifier gets us, right? So what are we doing here if you're new to it? We're running play-by-plays, right? These are simulating the game, the various outcomes and events that happen in a game. And it does that 100,000 times and takes the average to get us an average projection. And then we're going to run the contest sim. So we're going to say, okay, well, what if we now we have these average projections and it builds the best lineups based on our, those few rules we set. So now what? Now we're going to run a contest sim. We're going to say, okay, who's doing what in the contest? What are they playing? Let's see how these lineups would perform against them. I'm a little slow today. That's okay. going to go for FanDuel after, and then maybe we'll look at since we're already on DraftKings. Look at lineups. We got baseball tonight, 2-gamer. This could be. Could it be the last 2-gamer, or is there definitely one more 2-gamer? One of the things I like to do, back to hockey, is like one of the reasons I like the hand build is because we have to. It's not that I'm going to use hand built lineups. I only want to play lineups that the model gives me. I trust it myself, but the hand build makes us get in the weeds of the lines and of the game charts. And when we do that, we start to get some no puck knowledge. In other words, some knowledge that you only get from knowing about hockey. As they say, no ball if you know football or basketball, and no puck. And you see things like Florida's power play. Just looking at this game, they're playing the whole shift. At least on this one they did. So you get an idea of who's splitting time, who's blending lines. It really matters because the projections just don't capture that well. Projections say, okay, these are the 3 guys on EV1, they correlate. And these are the 3 guys on even strength 2, they correlate. But, are they blending them? Like, I don't know, for example, Colorado has McKinnon on even strength 1, but he's playing 24 minutes. So he's playing with a lot of other guys as well. So correlations just works out a little bit different. I love puck too, Eagles. I'm not like a huge real life fan, but DFS hockey is just endlessly fun, in my opinion. All right. Are we going to struggle with this again like we did last time? Pool template. Use compact lineups. Why can't we run the Sims? I don't want to change any settings. I hate that. Here we go. Let's run the mini-max. So let's say we're playing 150 in the mini-max today. This is going to, this is not the same exact ownership. Oh, I hit 250. Shit. This is not the same exact ownership as the flagship, but it's close enough. So let's get the top ROI lineups and see what's like looking at the top. All right, 150 max. Let's sort it by ROI before we look at the diversifier. Exposure. So we're pretty spread out if we just sort by ROI. A lot of Toronto, then Edmonton, Montreal. Toronto smashed last time out. It's going to be much tougher against the Rangers. It's still looking good. SaberSim likes them. The question is, look at these onslaughts at Toronto. Montreal in here. Montreal's going against Nashville. One of the things I like about Montreal is their guys, like they used to have full line correlation. They don't anymore. They put Liney on power play too. They were fully correlated with the power play last season. So we'll see if their lines ever change. But let's look at their last game. I think like Nick Suzuki gets more power play time. Yeah, he did last year. Here they're getting the full 2 minutes. Correlation that they had on the power play was really good. It's Suzuki more minutes. He's kind of like a McKinnon type thing where he's getting more minutes than the rest of even strength 1. And I don't think the projections capture that. So like there's a little extra value on him. It also makes him better as a one-off than other folks. So don't mind getting to the four-man Montreals. But there you have our top ROI lineups. But let's run the diversifier. Let's run the portfolio diversifier and see what it looks like. 150, please. All right, here we go. Why does it keep going back to that? Is it not going to let me? It's only going to let me for the number I entered. There we go. So if we're getting diversity in there, it spreads it out, but you get a whole bunch of Vegas using the portfolio diversifier. What's the portfolio diversifier doing? It's saying, these are the rates you want to be playing these teams at, given ownership, to not just get leverage, right? And to actually give up ROI in some cases in order to diversify your portfolio so you can stay in the game longer, because DFS is so volatile. So look at with the diversifier, how things change. Vegas, Kings, Ottawa, Carolina, big change. We were getting Toronto, Edmonton, and Montreal. Where's Toronto in our top stacks using portfolio diversity? Way down there, right? I mean, their price is high. Their total is not great against the Rangers, which makes them a high ROI team, but a low probability team. And the diversifier is going to say, okay, get a little of this low probability, but don't get too much. There you have, if you're looking for just like the top plays for ROI, according to SaberSim today. Sorry, I didn't get Goldie's projections. I can't access them right now, but you get them with TrueDFS membership. But Toronto, just underplayed, better odds than you think. Then Edmonton, Edmonton's total is not great given their price, but they could always just annihilate someone. It's Edmonton. I mean, if McDavid and Draisaitl ran over the Islanders, no one would be surprised. But coming in somewhat low owned. So there you have how it's looking from a diversity. Let's go to FanDuel. Let's just build for the flagship on FanDuel, do the same thing. I'm not going to change that. Actually, yeah, we do. We got to do this right. We're only playing four-mans on FanDuel, and we're not playing four with all one-offs. That's just silly on a slate this size. Frankly, I probably just want 4 threes. I'd be happy if I got all 4 threes. See if any news came in. There's not going to be anything. Look out for that Kopitar thing. We should have looked at how much of him we have. I imagine we had some. There's, little guys you're going to have to look for. You're going to have to look at line rushes, especially on an 11-game slate. The other thing you got to do is late swap. You had the 6:30 central window, 1 7 o'clock game, and then 3 late night hammers that are really going to matter. I mean, Carolina's got a good total. Kings got a solid total, plus the Kopitar news. Vegas we're getting a ton of. So you have to really think about that and think of how your swaps are going to be, right? We don't have live ownership for hockey. We don't have live projections and live ownership. So that's kind of tough, right? It's not going to switch every lineup based on how they're doing, smartly. It's not going to say, okay, this lineup's doing shitty, play low-owned guys in the late night hammer. Or conversely, this lineup's doing well, play high projected guys. It'll do that. It's just going to get you the highest projected swaps. But you're going to get the highest projected swaps on your lineups that are performing poorly, and you don't want that. You want to play catch up. So you're going to get low owned swaps. So we're not going to be able to do that with hockey. So you're going to have to be careful. I mean, that's one reason. Kind of helps if you're playing fewer lineups. With the 150 max, swapping's tough. But still probably, I mean, can't hurt to do. But if there's no changes to projections, then it's really not as imperative. It's imperative you make your solid performing lineups look better. But you're going to want to do some hand work. I apologize. Still got a cough. Still got jet lag. Really apologize about that. And I don't have a cough button or water. Really unprofessional. I apologize. I'm going to keep going, though. Frustrating. Yesterday I had water with me. It helped with the cough. Well, the good thing about fantasy sports and not real sports is when we're sick, we can still play. Where'd I go? I wasn't on vacation, Eagles. I was away for work for 5 weeks. I was in the UK. I was in Edinburgh, Scotland for 3 weeks and Brighton in England for 2 weeks, which was really nice. I mean, if you're going to get to go somewhere for work and it's going to be 5 weeks, really, really lucky. But I came back sick and jet lagged, and I'm not handling it well on stream, as you can see. All right. Portfolio diversifier. Kempe, Kuzmenko, Kopitar, 15%. So it's going to matter. We're getting a lot of Kings. See our top stacks. Kings the highest, then Edmonton, Carolina, Vegas, Dallas. Let's sort by ROI. Just see where the top ROI lineups are, as opposed to the diversifier. Philadelphia, how about that? Cam York said he's going to play. Low total, but the price is right. The ownership's right. You're going to get Winnipeg. You get, I think, let me look at Philadelphia's lines. Flyers. Konechny, Courtier, Michkov. And I think, yeah, you get the full power play correlation with them. You could throw in Tippett. You can't pay 5-man, so you can't get Drysdale. Is York? No, York's not on 1 or 2, but York's going to play, I think. I was looking in news. So, low-owned, cheap Philadelphia on FanDuel is a high ROI play in large field. You still get that Montreal for the same reasons. And the Toronto Islanders against Edmonton kind of coming up, right? If we sort by ROI. Now, if we're kind of playing the GTO game, the game theory optimal type strategy and diversifying our portfolio, getting guys at the rates roughly at which they are in the winning lineup, and with ownership still mattering, but at that rate, then it changes things a bit. But if we're looking for just the top ROI lineups, a lot of Philly, Montreal, Toronto and Montreal showing up a lot as well on DraftKings. So there you have it. Philly sucks. I know. Philly sucks on this slate too. They're just low owned and cheap. And if you're playing in 1,000-something person field, they're going to grade well over time. It's going to be a low probability of hitting, but when it hits, you got a good shot. So if you're playing a few lotto tickets on FanDuel, Philly, Toronto, Montreal makes sense. Same for DraftKings. Now I'm going to look. We talked about looking at past slates with Scott McCarty. So let's do that. Let's take a look at like yesterday's Minimax. We had questions about duping and about, sim ROI, aka how our Sklansky bucks look. So let's just see if we can learn anything. We'll look at some of the maxers. Maybe we'll look at the flagship too, at some of the maxers and how they did. We really should do that. I mean, this is as important as like, hey, what are the best plays? I know Scott knows how to do this, but just first go with him. Okay, 2% ROI. I mean, that ain't bad, right? If you told me you have positive ROI and you can get a 2% ROI and it was solid and you knew you had a 2% ROI, I'd take it, right? It's not much, but this is sports betting. We don't have huge edges here. We don't have huge edges in DFS. We don't have huge edges in sports betting. But if we could eke out, grind out an edge, not bad. 4-game slate, 3 dupes. Let's see how that compares to other folks in the Minimax. Minimax had like 17,000 people or something. 17,000 lineup entries. So let's see other maxers. Most people just have to take some dupes. The ROIs are pretty flat. Who's the top ROI maxer? G Money with 10% ROI. He must have used SaberSim, right? Let's see. What kind of stacks did you play, Scott? Then let's compare that to the stacks of the highest ROI players. A lot of correlation here. You have a good amount of 3-3s, 3-2s, a little bit. Nothing less than that. I don't know if you set the rule beforehand. No onslaughts. I wonder was that a conscious decision? You can let me know in Discord. I know you watch these later. Was that a conscious decision? It's only a 4-game slate. You certainly don't need onslaughts. And but I don't know. I allow them. You have the 5-man onslaughts. No 5s, 1-offs, or 6s. So you do, okay, you have a good amount of 5-2s. Not as much as the 4-3. The 4-3 is the standard, huh? I wonder if we could look at what are your dupe lineups and see if they're 4-3s. Because those are played so much. That's worth knowing too, right? I mean, that's not just doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff. It's worth knowing what kind of lineups get the most dupage, limit from 3. So let's see. Okay. Put it in this here. And we want, but I can't, I could sort by user, but I can't search by user in this mode. Okay, fine. So I'm just going to scroll to you. Let's see. Tommy Nation. He plays a lot of onslaughts, I know. So your top lineup, you had 34, 35, and 30. See, Scott, when you watch this is, I don't know if it's a problem per se. I don't know if you use the diversifier or if using the diversifier with Goldie's projections caused this. But this is something to look into. Is do you really want to finish 34th, 35th, and 38th? I mean, I know it happens, but like we don't want lineup combinations clumping like that if we can't. But then again, they're just really, these lineups are just cannibalizing each other. It's hard to help it, but see which lineups you had that did dupe. This lineup duped. It was a 4-3. This lineup duped. It was a 4-3. You had one more dupe. Let's see which one it was. This one, 4-3. 4-3s are just played so much that they're more likely to be duped. I mean, I'm not saying don't play them, but maybe you don't. This one didn't even use all its salary, just had a really high ownership. Is that a 4-man Utah? Yeah. Utah is just high owned. I mean, maybe, you say something if it's the chalk stack, you don't play 4-3s of them to avoid duplication, or you could just accept that duplication is going to happen. But there you have it. The 4-3 is just played so much. You get some dupage in there. Let's see. Let's see if we take a look at. Let's take a look at the high dollar single entry. I like to play that. We had some question yesterday. The top stack, ROI-wise, that we were questioning about playing was Detroit. That was what was coming up in SaberSim for the recommendations. And I was saying I liked Florida because just nobody was recommending Florida. And their team total was not that bad. And it was a little underrated per SaberSim, slightly. Like they had a better total than Buffalo, but it was rating them the same. So there was just some thoughts on Florida. It was not like I thought they were like a great team on the slate, but ownership just kind of made sense. Let's see what graded the best in the high buck. High buy-in, big buy-in. Still showing us the mini-max. That's annoying. How do we get out of here? Oh, I see what's happening. I got to go to that energy line, not the one I simmed against. Okay. Yeah, Philly Eagles. Back to that. I was looking at chat. Not pretty, but the return on investment is going to be there in the long run. Okay. Half the field played Utah stacks. 4 threes. We had 5 twos and 6 mans. 11% of the field out of 250 lineups, 28 6 mans. Then, it's nice to see that there's some dead folks. 5 nothings barely get played. I'm surprised 4 threes only get that much. I mean, maybe 4 3 is the way you go. Maybe it's the opposite. It's not played enough. SaberSim likes to push down. But let's see. Let's see Sim ROI, what graded the best. One drop king of the 2 top ROI lineups. They were 5 twos. Ottawa with the 2-man Florida. Oh, look at, so not to toot my own horn, but Florida coming in as the second best graded 5-2. This is really similar to what we built. We built a Florida with Bedard, and we said that wasn't going to get played. It ends up, like, even though it wasn't the best play pre-flop, you turn the cards over, and not enough people do it. It ends up grading really nicely. Florida graded really nicely on this slate. The 3-2-2 coming in there just randomly. SaberSim's only 11%, 20% 5-2s, but SaberSim's loving them. (4-3) just doesn't grade that well in SaberSim. SaberSim, as far as I remember, definitely like Sal Goodman. I think Goodman played the 4-3. Yeah, I've seen him talk about that. Here's Sheets. What Sheets play? He's got the 5-2. Chicago. Probably did well, right? Yeah. Good money there. Good job, Sheets. Let's see. Who do we want to see? Let's see what 150 max or some that we like really respect. What kind of lineups they played. He's really good. This guy's really good. I'd like to see what his portfolio looks like. K is awesome. A PayDirt user. Remember, you can get access to the PayDirt tools through TrueDFS.com. You get access to all the tools I'm using here and Sheets' projections, Goldie's projections. You can get all of it. It's a really robust package. Premium Discord. So after you like and subscribe, check it out. See stacks. He's got like no 5-mans. Right? Where's his? Yeah, none. No onslaughts there. He's a strong player too. What does that tell you? Let's see what Squid's got. Both SaberSim users. Yeah, he's spread out, but not a ton of onslaughts. This is also a huge field, right? This isn't the normal $15. It's $5, and it's got 19,000 entrants. So that's probably why. Once we get into the season and the contests are a little bit smaller, I think we're going to see a little bit more of the big stacks and less of these like going for outlier performance stacks, I think. We'll also see them at an 8-game slate, 10-game, 11 like today. We'll see them more because there's just outlier games, more chances of. Let's see a non-SaberSim user. Let's see what PayDirt got CKK on. I mean, I'm not saying he's only using PayDirt, but 4-3s, 5-2s, 4-2-2s. How much chalk did he have? Tons. Eating the chalk, it was good, people liked it on the slate, but he didn't eat the St. Louis stuff. It's right after. He had the Florida and a good amount too in the low in Florida. So let's see. I mean, this is tough. We're not going to get a comparable contest as the year goes on to a $19,005 150 max, but something to look at. If you got questions, I know Scott was talking about watching, post them in Discord. Come join us in Discord. Check out TrueDFS.com. Really appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe. Most of all, good luck on today's slate. Let's get some money.